if you ask me about my fundamentals, I may not give you the right answers. But signal processing, image processing, which I took as my elective in the fourth year, all of these I really got a good grounding, and that is something you need to do, right? So whatever is your spike, you have to boost it. So then the next phase, when it comes to universities abroad, is you have to give the necessary exams. In the US, you really should take the GRE. Right now, some universities will say, "Oh, we are waiving the GRE," but unless the university explicitly says on their website, "Do not send your GRE scores to us," we will not look at them. If they don't say that, then you really should take the GRE, and if your score is good, you should send it. Why? Because of two reasons. See, one is if your academics are good and your GRE score is also good, then you will show that you are a consistent performer, right? Not just in the particular university system you hail from, but also on a standardized test which is administered worldwide, in 1,000 test centers across 180 countries. Your mathematical reasoning, your verbal reasoning, you have proven that your skills are really good. Now, on the other hand, if your undergraduate, academics wasn't too good, getting a good GRE score, right? Something like 320 plus for some of, depending on the profile. So for some people, 330 plus they can aim and get. For some of them, 315, 310. If you get a good GRE score, then it, to some extent, if the academics not good, to some extent, the GRE will help compensate for your academics. It still tells them that your math, your quantitative reasoning skills are very good, right? So you really should take your GRE also quite seriously, right? So, for example, in my case, these are my GRE test reports. You will see that the scores are out of 800 per section. So I think I was the last year in which they had this kind of scoring system. So I would encourage you to look at the percentiles. So if you see that red area, you will see that I got the 99th percentile in the verbal section, 99th percentile in the quant section, and I scored 99th percentile in the analytical section. So what a percentile means is that out of every 100 students, how many scored less than you? So out of every 100 students, 99 of them scored less than me in all these sections, which means I was the one who, was the topper. So again, it really helped. So, and as soon as I saw my scores, I was the computer-based test is what I took. I was very happy, and and if you see the universities to which I sent my score reports, right? Stanford is one of them, and the others are Purdue, Carnegie Mellon, Berkeley. I said I want to send my score reports to the top universities, right? Because I did really well on my exam. And a suggestion I would give to you is, if you find your GRE score is not that good, and if you feel that next time if you attempt with better preparation, better guidance, you can do better, then you send your free score reports to universities which are not in your ambitious list, but in your average and in your practical and your safe list, right? But if you're very happy with the score, you send it to your ambitious list. If you're not happy with the score, but you're like, I don't want to write the exam again, right? Then also you can send it to your ambitious list. So this is something that you have to, that is why I always say it is good to get the admission guidance, even at the time you're preparing for your GRE, even before you write your GRE, because each of these score reports will cost you $30 per university if you don't include it here. So, for example, suppose you're applying to 8 universities, 4 of them ETS will send for free. The remaining 4 you will have to spend somewhere close to $28 to $30 per university, right? And so, if you choose these universities wisely, which means if you get the guidance, okay, for this kind of score, I must send my choose these universities, then it will really help you, right? So that is something, and you can, an admission counselor can guide you with. So moving on, I should also tell you how I prepared for the GRE. And in my second year, as you know, I got the ultimatum from my father. So every day in the bus, one of the points about studying at SVC is you get used to this long bus journey, right? Unless you're a hostelite. So I said, why not use that as a plus, right? Instead of, I mean, every day, yes, you talk with friends, you gossip and all of that. But Why not use it for something else? So what I did was uh, back then we didn't have smartphones with internet connectivity. So instead of using I couldn't use a mobile app. Although today I have written a mobile app for my students for GRE prep. But back in the day, I used books, and every day in the morning, I would read vocabulary on my bus journey. And every day in the afternoon, I would work out one verbal section, right? Verbal, because quant required a lot of writing, like, and I couldn't write when in a moving bus, but I could read and I can easily, take answer choices. And then I would go home and then I would review my performance to see how I did. So in the beginning, it was actually very embarrassing because I was the only girl or the only person who was studying in the bus, and people would make fun of me. But compared to the fun they were making of me, I had my, again, the buchandi that my dad gave me. So I said, I don't care. uh, these students, I'm very happy. I like my friends, but if I don't end up going as a student, I think that that journey and the responsibility, the decision will be mine alone, right? No one else will bear my cross. So I didn't care about what people commented, and I just kept studying the bus. Then, um, somewhere at the in the first 6 months, I really got a very good grounding of vocabulary, right from word roots. So I encourage you not to just mug up words, right? Don't just take alphabetical word lists and mug them up. They are more for you to quiz yourself after you have learned it the right way. So how would I you have to see, the thing is, if you learn words, GRE is not going to ask you to choose the meaning of the word. You're going to get questions in context, right? So there'll be like a fill in the blanks and you have to choose the right words, and then all the words will sound very appropriate. So unless you knew how you can use a particular word in a particular context, it is not something you shouldn't just mug things up, right? So you should always try to learn words the right way, because for the rest of your life you will remember those words, right? Because vocabulary is a skill, right? So what I would encourage you to do is, for example, I'll show you on my phone. So you can go to Android. So I presume I'm showing you my Android phone here. You can go to the Play Store, right? You go to the Play Store and then you type in, let's say, GRE vocabulary, and you search, and you get lots and lots of apps, right? And you can download these apps. So I'm also very, very happy to share with you that this app right here, the second one in the list for GRE vocabulary, is an app that I built with my team, and when I founded Galvanize. So this is also a gamified app. We are happily rated. I don't know if you can see my screen. So I'm just going to show it right here. You can try it on your phones. Happy to share that we are rated at 4.7 out of 5 stars, consistently, with more than 500,000 downloads. Sorry, with more than um, I mean, in fact, if all our apps together, we are like we crossed 1 million downloads. So very happy. It's so the experience that I underwent when I was studying for vocabulary is something that I have taken and put back in our app. So the reason I'm showing you my app is to say that a lot of the learning that I had discovered for myself, I felt that I have to give it to the next generation in a better way, because you have all this technology. So, yeah. So coming to the GRE prep, I hope I gave you a good idea of how you have to go about it. And one thing I do urge you is you have to make sure you have a strong way to get your feedback. So, for example, you shouldn't just keep on practicing questions after questions. It's more important to review how you did in the practice, see where your mistakes are, and then try not to repeat those behaviors. And we've built something out to do that at Galvanize. So just want to tell you that the importance of the GRE, right? The fact that I was 99 percentile on all the sections, I'm sure played a very, very important role in getting me accepted to Stanford. So that is the message I also want to share with you. So now I'll move on to TOEFL. So as you know, the TOEFL is again a required exam, TOEFL or the IELTS. And this is the test of English. It's how your ability to communicate in English, right? Because they want to make sure you can, get understand what's happening and the college and all of that. So, um, the reason I'm sharing again, the scoring system used to be different, and back then we had to take two tests. There's a test of spoken English and the TOEFL. But today, the TOEFL is an internet-based test which has reading, writing, listening, and speaking, all the four sections. Same for the IELTS. Both of these tests are, equally valid, right? Um, so I do want to point out, I'm very happy to share again that I think I'm using a lot of happy to share, but because I am happy to share that I did get a full score on my TOEFL. So for some weird reason, 677 was the highest possible score on the TOEFL at the time. Now I'm glad they have made it a nice number like 120. And similarly, for the test of spoken English, I did get a 60 on 60. So I'm pretty sure my TOEFL score also played a role in terms of helping me with the scholarship. So I'll come to you more about that. So, so you want to take these exams seriously. You want to really give it your best, and there's a lot of tools and opportunities and guidance you have to make sure you get it right. Right. Okay. So now let's I know move on to the other important part of your application, which is the projects that you do, the internships that you do, your resume, the statement of purpose, extremely important, right? I hope you are aware that a statement of purpose is like a 1 to 1.5 page essay that you write, which describes your professional, your academic journey, and if you're interning, the internships you did, the projects you did, why you did them. See, a resume will tell what you did, where you did, and when you did. But a resume will not tell why you did it. A resume will not talk about what you learned from it, right? Whereas the SOP is the right place to talk about all those things. And similarly, the SOP will tell the university about why you want to choose, why you like that particular field, right? Why you want to study in that university. What do you plan to do with your degree after you graduate, right? What kinds of problems are you interested in solving? Which labs in the university, the research work excites you? What all have you done in your what in your background makes you a more interesting student, makes your, why should they see, they get so many applicants, right? So they get like thousands of applicants, and they have to pick a few, and which means the other applicants are going to be rejected. So the SOP is an opportunity for you to write about yourself, but not in a sentimental way, in a professional way, and present your highlights, your strengths, to give a narrative which explains in a convincing way why you are best suited for the program. So the SOP is a very, very important document, and I took care to write my SOP very carefully. I got guidance, and that was very helpful on how to structure it. I made sure that all the projects I did, including my final year project, were all in my area of interest in which I wanted to specialize in my masters, and I wrote about it extensively in my SOP. So even today when I read my SOP, I can see the clarity with which, 20 years back, I was clear that this is what I wanted to do. This is why I feel I deserve this opportunity. This is all the foundation that I have laid for me, in order to prepare me to take up, to do justice to this opportunity. This is what I would like to do. It is that clarity is what they are expecting, right? So, uh, it is very important for you to try and bring out that clarity. But if you're unable to do so, and trust me, we don't have that experience, right? As students in India, we're not required to do this. So writing an essay like this can be very daunting, and that is where I would encourage you to take feedback, ideally from a professional, because that person would have seen the essays and SOPs of hundreds of, or if not thousands of students, and correlate with their admits and rejects and their backgrounds, right? So the if see, because an SOP is not just to talk about your achievements, it's also to talk about sometimes your weaknesses, right? For example, students who are changing their branch, let's say you're changing from triple E to industrial engineering, or let's say you're changing from computer science to something more generic, like general, like business analytics, then you want to make a really solid case as to why you're changing, right? If you're going from within your core area to a specific subject in your core area, your SOP will be written in one way. If you're changing your branch, like jumping from one core, look, you can't simply hop across cores, right? You can't, if you haven't done your undergraduate, let's say you've done your undergraduate in, I don't know, civil or chemical engineering, to do your master's in VLSI would be next to impossible, right? But if you have done your undergraduate in ECE or EEE and you want to do your master's in computer science, that is more possible. But still, you have to present your story in such a way that the university admissions officer feels very convinced when reading it, right? So, so that's why I want to talk, tell you emphasize this SOP. It's a statement of purpose. Like they literally want to read about your purpose, why you want to do this, what have you learned so far, right? Why do you think we should give you this opportunity? And it should be written very, very professionally. The most important thing. So, the GPA, the GRE, TOEFL, these are all cutoffs, right? So, a university might say our minimum TOEFL requirement is 100 out of 120. Some other university might say our minimum TOEFL is 93 out of 120. What that means is, if your TOEFL is below that cutoff, they will reject your application without even looking at your SOP. But if your TOEFL is or exam score is above that cutoff, it doesn't mean that you're going to be accepted. It means that they're going to scrutinize the rest of your application very, very carefully, starting with your resume, with your SOP, and of course your letters of recommendation. So I strongly encourage you to have very good professional relationships with all your professors, whoever is going to be your project guide, your department HOD, your internship manager, because these are all the people who are going to give you that letter of recommendation. They'll actually have to write about you. And if they're struggling with it, then definitely that is something we can help them. So struggling with it not because they can't write, but because they're really busy people, right? Professors are quite busy, managers are quite busy. So at Galvanize, what we do is we take inputs from you and we help you draft your SOP properly in the way that you would have, written it ideally, right? And then we have multiple iterations. Similarly for the letters of recommendation. So we will go through that process and then you can give it to your faculty and then they can go through and make any changes they want. Ultimately, they are the decider. If they, you shouldn't praise yourself sky high. You really have to be clear. It has to be a true assessment of what they think your capabilities are, and it also has to have clear examples to justify their observations. So, for example, if in their letter of recommendation they say that the faculty says that you're very creative in problem solving. Just saying that is not enough. They have to give an example. For instance, this happened. So your project guide can talk about, or let's say you're a good team player, then they can talk about it. So do have, especially those of you in your second year, first year, third year, maintain very good relationships with your faculty from day one, and especially in those courses in which you plan to specialize for your masters, pay solid attention in their class, use their office hours wisely, and the extent to which how you engage with them is definitely going to impact. It's going to play a role in the kind of letter they write for you. So I hope I've given you an idea about the other aspects of the application journey, namely the statement of purpose, letter of recommendation, resume, projects, internships, and then applying to universities. A lot of forms you have to fill on the application portal. And sometimes we don't even know what they mean. We don't know how to convert our GPA to a different GPA. I never had anyone to give me answers to all those questions when I was at SPC. So I've made sure and trained all my admission counselors that whatever question a person, a student comes to you with, on whether it is on the application form, whether it is on the SOP, whether it is on the resume, or even the choice of internship. Let's say they come to you and say, ma'am, should I do this internship or that? I've trained them in such a way that they should be able to answer all your questions clearly and give you the logic for why they are making that suggestion or recommendation. Because what is the point if you don't have that kind of guidance, then we're just going to be shooting in the dark. And I do remember feeling that I did not have any kind of guidance at all. So I'm doing my part in making, in ensuring that next generation of students, at least though whoever enrolls with Galvanize will get that guidance, right? So this is I remember feeling, like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., trying to figure out what on earth this university is asking me. Should I write um, how which drop down what value do I select? And it is something that, it can, because their system is very different, and how to craft your SOP narrative, all of these things, it is very, I wish I had guidance. So that is, these are all things that motivate you to solve problems, right? The problems that you encounter help you in solving other people's problems. So this is how I went through my application journey, and I was extremely happy and on cloud nine when I received my admit from Stanford. So at this point, I kind of have to share something personal. It was a little, it's a bit personal, but I will share it anyway because I was also asked to speak about how my family reacted to my admission. And um, it's kind of tough. It was a very tough experience because my father passed away just before I got my admit, and in fact just before I applied also. So it was a very tough application time for me. But he was around when I got my GRE score and my TOEFL score. So kind of around that time. So, and I think he would have been really, really happy, to know I got accepted to Stanford. But the rest of my family was extremely, like they really felt very proud that despite these challenges, I still topped my class in my in my seventh semester or eighth semester. And it, because for me it was like, okay, this is what he wanted for me, right? Because I remember the day before or the night before he passed, and he was absolutely fine. He was doing well, his health was all okay, but he just had this sudden heart attack, right? But the night before he passed, he and I were sitting together looking at various university websites in the US. And I remember we were, in fact, spending a long time looking at University of California, San Diego, and trying to come up with which, because I didn't have anybody to guide me in choosing my universities. Right? Again, I would only go to my dad. So right, so that was, it was kind of peculiar that it happened this way, but that is how life is sometimes. And I'm also very happy to share that SVC, the college, was very, very supportive of me, right? The current principal, your current principal, Mr. Ganesh Vaidyanathan, was actually my professor in EC at the time. That's when he had joined the college, and he and a lot of the others were Mr. Murugavel. He was my English faculty at the time. They were all so supportive, so understanding. Like I did not expect that they would reach out, encourage. I really, I think these people really have a lot of heart, right, at SVC, and and that is something I really appreciate the college for. So when I shared the news with them, everybody was happy. I got this admit letter, and then I also was so happy that I did not expect, but I also got a fully funded fellowship, right? So and they essentially paid me for my studies and for my tuition, because since my father was not around, we were like really wondering, okay, no earning member in the family, how are we going to fund this? Because even an education loan definitely you can get, but you will still need somebody to. And it's not like today where you have companies that where you don't require a co-signer or a collateral, and we can actually put you in touch with such companies. But back in the day, you needed all of that. So the fact that I got full funding made it extremely, my visa process was so simple, right? I did not have to. I remember only borrowing money to apply to universities to afford the application fee, but I did not have to. Everything after that was just made like it made so much. Everything happened smoothly, and very grateful to God for opening this door, right? Because it really changed a lot of things for my family, right? And it changed a lot of things for me. So Studying at Stanford was really, really amazing. Different culture, a lot of, like, I had in my first year, I had roommates who are all from Chennai, and yeah, we had. I remember it was a four-bedroom apartment. There were four of us. Two of them were from IIT Madras. All of us different departments. Very, very ambitious girls. A lot to learn from them, and we would take turns cooking. So that was the first time I actually learned cooking, because Tuesday was my day of the week to cook. And after that, after coming back to India, I've not even cooked a tiny little bit, a fraction that I used to cook in the US. So um, the classes were so interesting, right? The way you learn, the professors are so passionate about what they do. They live and breathe their subject, and it is very, very motivating to learn from such people. And the opportunities I got in terms of internships, in terms of communities. I joined the apart from my subjects, which were so amazing. I loved the exams. We had midterms and final exams, which were open book exams. So you can, take the textbook, take your notes, take whatever you want to write the exam, but your answer is not going to come from there, right? Unless you really understood the concepts that were taught in the class, and unless you could apply them in a different context, you are never really going to do well on the test. So my first semester, or at Stanford, it was a quarter system. It was quite a bit of a shock. Like, and then I figured out, how I need to do it. So I learned a lot, and I really learned my fundamentals again. And I could see how to apply them in different contexts. So it's been an amazing experience. I think the campus itself is beautiful, but I've also visited campuses of other universities in the US. See, some of them are what are called in urban campuses. For example, NYU, New York University. It's literally in the heart of New York City, right? So you don't know where the university ends and where the city begins. So if that's your cup of tea, totally go for it. And then you have rural universities on campuses where you get the total college feeling. Some of them are a mix. So it is, you will also get to experience a lot of other activities. Like, for example, I joined the astronomy club. So we would also, go and, I remember my first really clear view of Saturn and Jupiter. Such a heavy, like, I don't know, probably a 25-kilogram telescope they had taken, and a very, very, very clear view. It was so beautiful that I still remember it to this day. So I would encourage you to to take advantage of opportunities in your campus other than just the academics. Although the academics is the most important part, you still have to remember that you will have to manage your time very well, because especially if you're doing a TA or an RA, teaching assistantship or a research assistantship, you have to work for the university for 20 hours a week, and you have to manage your time well. You will have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do your laundry, you have to clean your toilets, you have to, pay your bills. Everything is something that you're going to do. So manage your time very, very wisely, right? So then I just want to share a little bit about my work experience as well. I did my internship. You have to do really good, you have to get good letters of recommendation. You have to do this kind of internship today, right? What I did 20 years ago in my master's as a master's student, you will have to do that kind of internship today. So that is something I strongly advise. I'm just going to take a quick pause here to request that all of you mute your microphone, because I'm hearing some background noise, and that's kind of getting in the way. So I request the host to mute everyone else but the speaker. Thank you so much. Right. So please do a solid internship. Don't do this implant training. I'm sorry, I'm still hearing that background noise. Can I wait till the person's muted?
Please mute your microphone.
Okay, I'm just going to proceed. So this is the kind of internship that you have to do today in your undergrad, right? So what I did was natural language processing, and extracting meaning from text. Basically, what is called machine learning today. Really, really, useful field. And I also got an opportunity to work for Kaplan. Sir, if you could also mute, it would be great. And I worked for Kaplan, which is a well-known test prep company. Back in the day, I worked for the San Francisco Center. That's when I taught. I actually taught the GRE and SAT and all those exams um, to American students, and that was a very instrumental. It played an important role in me actually trying to start Galvanize, because I understood the impact I could make as a teacher and as an academic. So that is also something that I want to highlight. And I also worked for some fantastic companies. I think some of you might have heard of Intuit. It's based in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. It's leading software company there, and they make very specialized financial and accounting software, taxes and accounting and so on. I also worked in my core area, which is digital signal processing. I worked to build the physical layer. So those of you in computer science, like you have these different layers in a, like network layer, presentation layer, application layer, all of that. So I worked in the physical layer to basically send information, on basically the internet, how to convert um, the digital to analog, on the cable, right? So it goes. So I was very excited to apply my learnings. And I have to say that whatever I learned in the US, whatever I learned in my masters, the courses I took, they were so relevant to the industry that you will feel like, okay, this is so useful. I can take what I have learned and apply it in my organization. And that is, that's really a big advantage that you get there, right? So being working in the Silicon Valley gave me a lot of insights into what kind of an organization culture I want to build later on. It also taught me how you can harness technology to provide quality, to give access to quality education at scale. So it made a big difference. And I strongly encourage you, even if you plan to come back to India afterwards, if you don't want to settle there, but at least use the 3 years that you're getting, the stay back period, to get this amazing work experience, and choose the right kind of organization. And in case you want to stay back there and work for a longer period of time, then you should choose organizations that have a history of applying for H-1B visas for their employees, right? So this is something that some couple of things on the professional side that I really want you to keep in mind. Right. So after I worked after I lived and worked in the US, in California for some time, for a few years, I came back to India, and I tried working here at a couple of companies, and I didn't like the work experience at all. I felt like somebody else abroad was designing and coming up with all the decisions, and then here I will just be implementing. I couldn't question why to do what to do. And so I said, okay, why not why not start a company, and why not try and solve the problem that I had, which was, if I had somebody to guide me in a much more personalized way during my entire study abroad journey, right, that is something that I would say is what motivated me to found Galvanize. And the fact that I had been in the tech industry, and that I'd worked at, studied at Stanford, there's a lot of entrepreneurial culture there, a lot of companies whose founders originate from there. You feel like, and they all think scale, right? They all want to solve problems in a scalable way. So I did not want to start a company where I'll open one branch, in one part of the city, then serve the students there, then in another branch in another part of the city, and then so on. And then soon I'll know that, okay, this faculty here are very good, and that faculty there, they're not so good, because they have to. I didn't want to have that kind of inconsistency in quality. I always wanted to do something that will scale very well, which was technology based. So galvanize global education from day one. Very happy to share that we have been digital first, we have been online, and the fact that across the world we have helped students go to all of these countries. I'm sorry for the color of the flags. My the color theme in my system is a bit changed today. I used a dark theme because generally I spend a lot of time staring at my system, but the dark theme is sort of not doing justice to the colors of the flags. But I'm happy it's keeping the people the right way. Um, the people that you see here on the slide are a few of our thousands of students who have enrolled with Galvanize, who have chosen us to help their uh, study abroad dreams come true, right? Because the fact that we haven't constrained ourselves by location means that we could help people from any part of the world go and study in any country, right? So these are all students from different parts of the world whom we actually helped. Some of them we went to the US, some went to Canada, UK, Australia. So we've always focused that we can give end-to-end personalized solutions for students, working professionals. Whether it was a test prep guidance, the admissions counseling, and the education loan. So whatever problem that I faced, I kind of said, okay, how can I build that in a scalable way? How can I solve that for the next generation? I'm very happy to have my co-founders also from good institutions who understand the value of good education. And these are some of the countries to where our students have gone. We have helped students get to more than 18 countries. And the students who have enrolled with us, who have paid Galvanize for us of services, they come from more than 60 countries, right? So sitting in Chennai, we have been able to help students across the world, in India, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Ghana, Philippines, like so many countries actually get to their dream university in all these countries that you see on your screen. And we have been able to, we've always been in a digital first. So when COVID hit, we did not face the kind of challenges that a lot of other companies faced. There was hardly any transitioning that we had to do. So that is pretty much, it was very fortunate that way that the digital first was something that was always on our mind, right? And similarly, these are some of the specializations into which we have helped our students get into at Galvanize. So my team of admission counselors, my academic team, I've closely worked with them to refine the pedagogy, to come up with the process, the tools, the software that we have built to, because for India alone, we have students from more than 450 Indian cities have enrolled with Galvanize to help them in their higher education journey abroad. And all these different fields, it's very satisfying that you can help people from so many areas, right? And these are the students who are going to go and push the boundaries of their respective fields tomorrow. So it is something very satisfying, at a deep level, to know that you've helped a student get into quantum physics or biostatistics, data science, aircraft propulsion, wireless communication, of course my own area, DSP, databases, AI, ML, IoT, MBAs. It's not just STEM. We've done healthcare, economics. Recently, we helped a student do masters in perfumery in France. So it's been very, very interesting, to learn about all these things. So some of our students have gone to do their specialization in soil science, right? How to or sustainable engineering or environmental engineering, material design. And you know that they're taking advantages of fantastic opportunities, and you can, we are engendering a force for the better, right, for the good, for future. So it's very satisfying when I look at that. And so I was also sharing with you about our mobile apps. We'll share, maybe this link, it will come on your chat, so you can click on it. More than 1 million users have downloaded our apps. I've shown you our vocabulary app. You can also check out our GRE app. You can just have to go to the Play Store. You can maybe type, what would you do? You'll type, let's say, GRE prep or something, and you can try and download these apps. So you will have the galvanized test prep, math and verbal. So again, we've worked hard on it to make sure it's got like 4.7 out of 5 ratings as well. So I think the consistency in quality something we have strived to maintain, right? Both from a technology perspective, from a user experience perspective, from a content and learning methodology perspective. And I would say the same thing for our admissions counseling as well. So here are some Quora reviews that you can check out about our test prep, about our GRE prep, our admission counseling. So do open them in a different tab or check it out. And you really need to go through various students. What has their experience been? See, they'll not just talk about Galvanize. They'll be talking about their higher education, the application journey experience, their test preparation experience, and you learn a lot, like what struggles, what are the hard part, how to overcome it. And I can talk a whole, I can give I can give like 10 different webinars on these topics alone, right? On GRE verbal, on reading comprehension, on how to write an SOP. And there's just so much to talk about. But when you can also hear what other students have to say, and that will be very illuminating as well. So I'm going to wrap up by giving you a little bit of more information in terms of what is the timeline and how you can go about this process and so on. So I hope you are aware that in terms of timeline, I strongly encourage you to take your GRE at the earliest, as long as you prepare well for it and write it well. Right, our GRE prep course is always available, but however you decide to prep, don't postpone it till your fourth year, because the summer between your second and third year, the summer between your third and fourth year, these times should be used to do solid internships that will build your profile, right? So try and get your GRE done with as soon as you can. But if you're already in your final year, that's different point of view. I think it'll be tricky. But if you're in your seventh semester of your final year, that's still okay. You can write your GRE by August, September, worst case. Then September, October, take your TOEFL or IELTS of the English test. October, November, you should get your SOP. Actually, SOP, you should start working in the summer itself, right? And for students who have a very strong profile, I advise you to begin your SOP in the sixth semester, that is your second semester of your third year, because by then you will know which field you want to specialize in. You would have done some projects. You can start building the narrative. So the counselor will guide you how to start building. So the internship between your third and fourth year, that paragraph alone you can start adding, right, to the SOP. And then based on the university which you're going to choose, that you can add later. So don't keep your SOP for the last minute, right? Same thing for LORs. Professors get very irritated when you put pressure on them in the last minute for LOR. So don't do that, right? Whatever transcripts, statements from your college, whatever you want, get it on time. And the regular deadlines for universities are December, January, February in the US. But if you have a good profile, or if you are applying for a very good universities, the deadlines actually open in September itself. They open in August, September. So don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till December 15th midnight, 11:59 p.m. California time or whatever to apply. Apply early, right? Because as and when they get applications, they're going to review the applications and decide whether they want to accept those candidates or not. So please apply early. And March, April, you will receive the decision. You can process the paperwork. You can get your education loan arrangements, or you can secure scholarships. You can write to professors. That's a whole different session. I take a separate webinar only on funding your higher education. And then, of course, the visa interview, right? Other countries don't have a face-to-face interview, but the US does. And that is definitely something that you want to prepare for. So like all our counselors are, instructed to guide the students, head to toe on visa, because, it's so disheartening to have gone through this entire journey only to get a reject stamp on your visa application, right? So it's a very, very demotivating for a student, for the parent, for the entire family. And therefore it's so important to practice for your to prepare, to take the right documents, to answer the questions correctly. Remember, some guy with a different, some person with a different foreign accent is going to talk to you through a thick glass wall and mic, and the feeling is so stressful. So you have to prepare well. So the galvanized counselors will actually talk to you about the visa. They will give you mock interviews, so you will get that familiarity and you can use that to answer your questions. So this is the timeline I've explained for fall semester, which starts in the August, September, right after your fourth year. And those of you who are studying will probably go for fall. There's also a spring intake, which is popular sometimes among working professionals, but most students go for the fall semester, right? So I just want to give you a few good reasons to take the GRE exam, the TOEFL. I want you to stress. I want you to know that these exams can help you boost your profile. They will Universities do look at these scores as cutoffs, and this is something that you want to really care about because it's also standardized test, right? And also, when you, I just want you to want to quickly recap the kind of factors that universities are going to look at. They'll take a very holistic approach. All of these are important: your academics, your test scores, internships, research projects, conference, hackathon, SOP, LOR. Everything is important. Now, not everybody will be strong in everything, right? I was telling you about my brother, who's he was not his class topper. His GRE was good, but not super good. Like it was around 335, sorry, 325 ish, but or 328. It was like nowhere, like not like 338, but he did, he did a lot of projects and internships, publications, and those also helped him land a master's admit from guess it guess what, Stanford. So he did his master's in computer science from there. Yeah, it was very right. I could see that his profile was different, his strengths were different. Still, the university took a holistic view to the admission process, right? He had presented his papers internationally. The kind of projects he did, the faculty. So every summer he would, from morning till night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., he would be at IIT Madras. He would be researching something on something that I can't even pronounce, and he got such a strong letter from that faculty. And then he also presented that paper in South Korea and a couple of other countries, and it all played a role in his application process. He had a lot of clarity in what he wants to do. So he works for Google today as a product manager, and uh, all of this, when we say universities take a holistic approach, we really mean it. I see it with all my students. We have thousands of students. Their profiles are different, but it's our duty to make sure that all of this, your profile is presented in the best possible way, right? So one thing many students are concerned about is, how do I fund my education? Do not worry. Your education is higher education. You choose it in the right field. You study well. You do your interviews well. You can get a good job. You can definitely pay back your education loan, right? Some of you will take an education loan for the first semester, and then by the time you'll do well in the first semester, you will find a prof who wants to fund you for a project or research assistantship. The next semester you will find some funding, right? Some of you will get a scholarship right at the time of application. So various possibilities are there. And just remember that if you're doing a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship, you do have to work for the university. So again, they will take care of your tuition. Sometimes they'll also take care of the cost of living, but that is something that you want to keep in mind, that your time management skills are absolutely essential, right? So I'm going to share with you some of my students, from different colleges in Chennai, what their profile is like. This is one of our students, Valerie. She got into Miami University with a full scholarship, teaching assistantship. You'll notice that her TOEFL score is 119 out of 120, right? And she was also subject topper in introductory biology, and she did her biotech is her field of specialization, and her teaching assistantship was also the introductory biology lab class. So really, you can see how the profile matches everything, right? So similarly, here's another student. Who again, I'm showing you people with, not everybody got a full score or anything, but still the way we have the application, this is just for last fall. You can see that the student has got a full scholarship, a research assistantship at the University of Texas Arlington. And it is a big matter of pride for parents when they see you get scholarships, right? But it is also an equal matter of pride for them to see you take the responsibility of an education loan, because they know that now you're going to take a commitment, you're going to pay for it. They know that you are standing on your feet, and therefore, as parents, they are successful because they have now made you independent and capable of standing on your own 2 feet. So these are some things that you want to keep in mind, right? So I just want to wrap up by encouraging you to take full advantage of all the opportunities that as galvanized we have. I want to, for example, our mobile apps, download them. Test prep options are there for you. The percentile improvement is very important. For example, In quant, 160 out of 170 you will think is a very good score, but the average engineering student actually scores 160 on 170 because ETS gives all these stats on their website. There's a big 25-30 page PDF you can download. You can see the average computer science score on GRE, the average civil engineering student, how much they scored on GRE on each section. All the stats are there. So a full quarter of engineering undergrads get 165 or above in quant section. So you have to really shine in the quant if you're going for STEM, and you have to try and get at least 150, 155 if you can for verbal. So the way I have built the pedagogy for our GRE prep, for my SAT prep, TOEFL, IELTS, all of these exams is keeping in mind the learnings that I have had, not only when I was a student, but when I was the faculty, I taught these, and what I felt was lacking, and I've tried to take all of that and and fill all the gaps, and that's how we have built our pedagogy. So this is completely self-paced. It's online. It's asynchronous. I have recorded many of my videos. We also have a personalized study plan where you can come in. On each day you just have to study what you need to study for that day, right? And you don't have to worry about the big picture, right? That's our responsibility, but you just have to log into the portal, and if the portal tells you, okay, on a particular date to watch these 3 videos or take these 2 quizzes, all you have to do is do that, and you do that every day. And if you can't do it during the week, you compensate on the weekend, and then you follow the instructions, you take the feedback that your faculty gives you very seriously, implement the feedback. Definitely your scores are going to be great. And similarly for TOEFL and IELTS, we will help you. We'll give you score for the speaking section. We'll give feedback on the writing section of the GRE. So it's important for you to get feedback, right? Don't keep on practicing. Practice the minimum required, but get the right feedback. So every time you practice, your performance is better. So once you get the test scores, then you will go to the admission counseling, right? So whether it's undergrad, masters, PhD, MBA, we have helped students from more than 20 countries have signed up for our admission counseling services, and we have a fantastic 99% success rate. So out of every 100 applicants who has applied through us, 99 have gotten admitted to a good university abroad. So that is and across 140 specializations with 16 destination countries. And I'm very it's a matter of a privilege, in the sense that I feel very honored to have had this opportunity to help so many students get the kind of transformative experience that I had. So just once again highlighting the benefits that you have on your galvanized test prep course, and also recommending strongly that just I took my GRE very early in my so I started, as you know, I started preparing in my second year itself, and that laid a very good, a strong foundation, right? So you can focus on the other stuff later, right? Your profile building should come in your third year and fourth year. So these are things that you want to take advantage of. Similarly, for the admissions, the way admissions works in Galvanize is we onboard you, you have a profile evaluation, and then we shortlist the suitable universities. Your counselor will get a lot of information from you, which they will then use to curate, carefully handpick the right universities for you and classify them as whether they're ambitious for you or practical or safe and so on. And then we will also gather inputs from you for your SOP, but you don't have to write any essay, but you have to just answer a few questions and answer it truthfully and answer it in your own words. And then we will use that to understand your writing style, to all your experiences, and then we will weave a strong narrative. And similarly for all the other parts of the application, right? And then finally, we will guide you for the visa. We will help you for the financing as well, pre-departure. So what we try to do at Galvanize is to help students, for the entire, right, anything like the loan and bank account, SIM card. So we try to do end to end. And I want to leave you with some motivation from some of our students. These are actually our seniors at SVC. This is Taslima. She has gotten to a master's in computer science in Syracuse. And Kaushik from IT, he's gotten into Northeastern, very prestigious university. And Madan is in UT Dallas. I remember meeting him, and his mom, very, very happy that he's doing all this. So I'm sorry that I have a feeling that the dark theme has completely, erased the text here. But here are actually SVC students various years of graduation, I request my team members to see if they can just copy this information and ping it to you in the chat right now. So if you know any of them, you can actually reach out to them and ask for their experience, right? So these are some of the things, and I would like to share that I had this lovely opportunity that just before COVID on Women's Day, I was invited to speak to close to a few hundred, several hundred female students at SCC in the large auditorium that you have, where I was able to share my life experience with them. So for me, it was like a full scale journey, right? So I went with my mom to the campus, and there's just sharing and I wasn't just talking about my experience as a student, like whatever I shared today, but the idea was to talk about the lessons that we have learned from life, and especially from one woman to other women, and today being very close to Women's Day, which is a couple of days ago, yesterday. So it was again, I felt very honored to have had that experience, and I also very nice to see some of the faculty that I knew, who knew me well, still there in the college. And just want to say that there's a lot of genuinity and home factor in SBC that you don't easily find elsewhere. And I encourage you all to take advantage of it, to work sincerely, to stay motivated throughout your preparation, because studying abroad is not a one-day affair. It's a long journey, right? You have to keep in mind how excited you're going to feel, right, when you get your acceptance letter from a good university, right? It's going to be so exciting, right? You have to keep in mind, just visualize how proud your family is going to feel when you got that admit, and then they come to the airport to give you the send off, and you're getting into the flight, you're a little nervous, but you're also very excited. And then you land there at the university, you register for your courses, you find your roommates, you get your housing, you register for the classes, and the professors are very passionate, you love what you're learning, and you done well in the exams, you travel, you look around the place, then you do some fantastic internships, or you join an organization. Then at the end of the day, you feel so secure in your own freedom, right? You bring your family there to travel around the country, show them everything. And all of this is a very satisfying journey. It's a transformative journey. I promise you that you will not be the same person, in terms of your mindset, your perspective. A lot of changes, and if you're careful, your compass is pointing in the right way, then you will be so much, you will be so much the better for having had this experience. So I just want to, tell you to be smart about it, use your time wisely, take your exams quickly, and build your profile, make your SOP, your statement of purpose, your letter of recommendation very, very strong. Get the professional help you need, and make sure it is, it is something that you are, it should reflect you. Your application has to be original, it has to be true, but it should also put you in the best light, right? So you have to get the right kind of guidance for you to be able to do that. Apply to universities from the comfort of your home. Everything is online. Apply well before the deadline, so don't wait till the deadline, and do your mock interviews for your visa very properly. Get your education loan, fly, fulfill your dreams, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what feedback you have. Here's our contact information. And once again, very happy for the session. So thank you so much, and happy to take any questions if you have.
Dear participants, now you can have, if you have any doubt, you can get clarification from Madam. Feel free to interact. Madam is your senior only. If you have any queries, please feel free to ask Madam.
All right. So what I'll do is, I hope the session was useful to you, and we've given you a feedback form in the chat link, because I really need to get your feedback, whether this was helpful to you or not, what else you would like to hear about, which you felt was missing. And I'm also sharing a free profile evaluation link with you, because we're all SPC students, and I want to make sure that you can discuss your application profile with our advisors, with our study abroad advisors, and they can you can get some inputs in terms of what extra steps you need to take, maybe what score you should aim for, how to strengthen your profile. So please submit this form if you would like to schedule a call and get these inputs. All right, and do send me your feedback, because I would love to hear what you thought of it and what else you'd like to see in future. So thanks a lot. Thanks to the faculty as well. It was very well organized, and I hope I gave the students something useful that will help them in this journey.
Thanks, madam. So I request our HOD to say a few words about the session.
Yeah, sir. Really, Pavitra, you have done a wonderful job, and it was really mindful thoughts that we have taken everything from you, and hope the student has to take all your feedbacks, and they have to work accordingly. So it's a right notion that you said second to third year vacation period and third to final year vacation period is very, very important, and they have to make use of this period for doing technical internships or any other industry visits that they can do, and they have to take the inputs from there, and that can also be reflected in the LOR. I could see that many LORs which is coming here come with the research stuff, and team spirit stuff, and how they have leaded the club activities, and their contribution towards the club activities, and their contribution towards the research paper publications, and they are doing it. I think this junior student should also be well guided, and they should also be well motivated. So thank you, Pavitra. It's wonderful time with you. Thank you.
Thanks, HOD madam. But finally, if a participant, if you have any query, now you can get clarification. Otherwise, we can finish the session. Before that, I thank PavithraSrinivasan madam. She is alumni, and also madam often coming to our association meeting. Excellent session. Not only students, and also we got good idea about the higher studies. Higher studies, we can guide the students how they can approach this and all things. Very nice session, madam. I hope that we will meet in next year.
Thank you so much.
So
I wish all of you
I
a
invite
wonderful
you.
evening.
I invite you to all association meeting, madam.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I would love to. Vineet has been asking me to come for a while now. Some of the Soumya as well. So,
Yes, madam.
Yes. Thank you, and all of you students, just don't feel so hesitant. It's your future, right? You have to do what you need to do. Do it at the right time. Get the right guidance so you can set the best foundation for your future. I wish you all the very best.
Finally, I thank our HOD for giving the opportunity to arrange such a session, madam. Thanks, madam.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Ms. Pavitra.
Thank you. You're welcome.